fires up. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in, and it is my pleasure to bring on the former Wolverine who is ready to go and talk football. I mean, he was like, "What time is it? Let's go. It's game time." Here he is, Jim Scarcelli. Scar, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Danny. It's just we've been playing in that Big Ten championship game. I'm used to watching the Wolverines in the Big Ten championship game, but it was a hell of a game. Really, two really good defenses, man. You like defense. Great job coaching by both of their defenses.
Yeah, I liked Michigan being in that Big Ten championship game as well. I also liked Michigan being in the college football playoff. So they need to get back in there. You know, I see everybody going nuts, and it's just sports. It's always everything. What people don't realize, and I get it's college football for as long as I have been watching it. It's the best sport, but it's also the worst sport with everything that's going on when it comes down to their playoffs and determining who's number one. But it's always been complete chaos and a mess. But there's always going to be snubs. So, I mean, when people, you know, they put out their own 12 team or 16 team and they want to adjust this, and Heather Dinich says that, but you know, it's all, a lot of it's entertainment. If they didn't reveal anything to the end, there'd be other people that would do it. That's what they should do. But I mean, it's for the amount of people that are just so upset about the whole thing, it's actually better. I think it's better, even though I don't really care for Tulane and, you know, some of these, you know, the teams that are going to be in there. I would have rather have seen Notre Dame, just like maybe Alabama last year. But I mean, there's the thing is, they have a chance. Any of those 12 teams, they you know, theoretically have a chance to win it all, and you know, that's better than just 4 to me. So that's where
Danny, if you're looking at the 4th team compared to the 5th team, yeah, it's a huge advantage to be 4. If number 5 is Oregon 5, I think, or whatever, but whoever 5 is,
Oregon's they got a great path, right?
Okay,
yeah.
Let's say Oregon had to go play Notre Dame first round.
Right.
I mean, now that's a huge advantage for 4 versus 5. But if you give Oregon at 5 a lamb chop, James Madison will get crushed up there. Yeah. They'll get to play their guys. They'll play half a game. You know, it'll be like a scrimmage. Now It's not such of a disadvantage being 4 and 5. But, yeah, there's a lot of thinking going on with some of that stuff. But, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that I was thinking about it all, and everybody's got their thing, is that I was just looking at the schedule today. And so the Michigan, I've been to the Citrus Bowl. There's always, you know, the Michigan fans have their junket. They go down there. They spend a week. Orlando's fun. You know, they got all these things to do. It's pretty cool. It's New Year's Eve and everything. But the playoff games should come after all. They should play all these bowl games, and then they should have the playoff games. You get a playoff game, and then you get, you know, some bowl games here, more playoff games, more bowl games. It's confusing to your average fan, and it just doesn't set up for the excitement. Imagine, I don't even know. Yeah, the NFL. What if you had the NFL the playoffs? But okay, yeah, we're going to play.
You got a lot of stuff going on, Danny. Then you got NIL. You got to get all that stuff done before the semester. That's the thing. You want to try to get all this done so these guys can, you know, transfer. Not like the kid at Penn State last year. Remember the backup quarterback left because he wanted to transfer, and he left Penn State hanging. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go on with, you know, deciding, you know, when do they play these games. You got to try to wrap it all up so guys can transfer.
Yeah, you're right about that. We got so many different things to talk about. Michigan has a new special teams coach and a guy that coached, you know, a couple decades in high school football before going to college, and he's still out there. And now, after a year off, he may have thought it was all over. His coaching career, he is back, and he is with the Maize and Blue. We'll get Scar's thoughts on Kerry Coombs and the hire. The Michigan basketball team, the number 2 Wolverines, are in action tomorrow. They've been perfect this year. I know Scar, he watches basketball. He's always telling me. We'll get his impressions of Dusty May's team. But We do have the Citrus Bowl coming up, and when you saw the matchup here, you have NIL, you have guys that sit out, you have the approach. Sharon Moore today was asked about, what's the balance between, playing your senior edges and then trying to get some guys experience, and he said they're trying to win the game. So that's the way he put it about.
Yeah, we'll see who plays. That's an interesting response. You'll know when you see them. If we see number 8 out there, we're going to see some of these guys. I don't know what they're going to do, but Denny, Texas is Ohio State played Texas at the right time. Let's just say that they really improved as the year went on. You're not going to just line up and out talent Texas. Okay, they got players, they recruit, they got money. So they're going to have every bit as much talent as we have. They got a 5-star quarterback. We got a 5-star quarterback. Their guys started 12, 13, 14 games, started a couple games last year. Our guys now started 12 games. They got players, but they've improved. They got a couple big time wins. I mean, they beat Oklahoma when Mateer was a little banged up. He played, but they beat Oklahoma pretty good, and then they beat Texas A&M, who was undefeated. So they got some good wins. What's our best win? At Nebraska, Washington at home. I know. Anyway, yes. This is going to be a challenge. They're going to have people. Their quarterbacks playing, and they got damn good players. We got a young team too. So the guys that don't play, I'm guessing Moore doesn't play. I'm guessing Barham doesn't play. We're not going to see much of a drop off. I bet you Bredesen plays. He's going to play, but you're going to have, and we got so much depth at the edge position. It's not going to hurt us much. But I went to 5 bowl games and as a player, and there's some fun stuff. It's you go out there and have some fun and see Orlando and play in a nice stadium and play a good team but we'll have preparation. It's New Year's Eve, right, Danny? New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be a hell of a test for us, man, because they're good. They've improved. If Texas would have played them game 12, it would have been a different game. I guarantee you that, because they got the kid at the that was Ohio State's quarterback's first start too. Yeah. So in defense of them, they weren't exactly running on all cylinders either offensively. But Texas will be damn good on defense. Guy's a good defensive coach, and Sark is. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, in addition to the Oklahoma and Texas A&M, they also beat Vandy. So, that was a pretty good win for the Longhorns. And those L's I have pictured up on the screen. You mentioned that 14-7 game in the opener. They also lost to Florida, and they lost to Georgia. So they played a lot of good teams. And so Michigan will have their hands full in that game for sure. And the Longhorns are favored by 4.5. There were a lot of people that were asking me, the 13-10 score was what Michigan beat Ohio State by last year. That's what Indiana beat Ohio State by in the Big Ten championship game. And Indiana was able to get pressure on Sayin, and the defense is what surprised me. I've watched Indiana. I've been impressed with their wide receivers. Mendoza's been pretty good, but it was the defense that jumped up and jumped out of the screen. And I was wondering, why Michigan is Indiana. I wanted to ask you, does Indiana have that much more talent, do you think, on defense, or did they, was it a scheme that they used? What would you say to that?
Danny, Indiana runs some stuff that is kind of unique. Whenever you play 12 games and you look at your schedule as a coach, and you've got somebody running something unique, it gives them an advantage in some ways, because you don't. What Wink is running is because they've done such a good job with it. It's a lot of people are running it. Yes, USC has one of our assistants. UCLA runs our stuff. There's a lot of guys that run the Wink stuff. Okay, that hurts us. It hurts our defense when everybody, the offenses see that scheme. Indiana runs kind of a unique stuff. Okay, they play with 4 D linemen, and they do some different types of stunting and scheming. And the guy's he's the best coach in the Big Ten, Denny. Let me ask this question. I want all our viewers to listen. If you were I asked you this before we went on. If you were getting a job as a college football coach, and all 18 coaches in the Big Ten are at a clinic, and you're at a clinic, you're trying to learn football. You want to be a great, successful college coach. And all 18 coaches are putting on clinics, and you got to pick one of them to go into and hear that coach speak. Say you get to spend a whole day with him and his staff. And you can ask every question: building a program, hiring a staff, dealing with NIL, coaching defense, coaching offense, scheme, adjusting to formations, practice schedule, nutrition, strength and everything, anything and everything. Which coach would you walk into to learn football? There's absolutely no question in my mind who I'd be knocking on this guy's door. I'd be sitting in the front row, and it's the guy at Indiana. Are you kidding me what he's done in 2 years over there? Indiana was garbage. And I don't, it's funny how the media wants to keep talking about money with this guy. They want to keep talking about money. They always seem to bring up Indiana and Texas Tech. You don't think Ohio State and some of these in Oregon is spending the kind of money Indiana's spending? So, Denny, the guy's a hell of a coach. He's getting the right players. You got to get the right players out of the portal. And he's done a great job with that. He's getting the right high school kids, but he's damn good. And I listened to him talk about his defensive coordinator, and this is how I was as a coach when I first started. I was always, I'm the defensive guy, but I was in talking to the offensive coaches all the time, watching what the hell they were doing, involved with what the hell they were doing. He doesn't do nothing with his defensive coach. He said, I don't bother him anymore. He's been with the guy for so long. He lets him, he totally delegates the defense to the guy who's running his defense. So the answer to your question is, Denny, the guy, he brought in really damn good players out of either they were there, he's developed them, or he brought them in because they're good looking players. And a big part of it is scheme too, because Ohio State did not knock them off the ball. We're going to look at some film maybe the next week or something. Ohio State did not push them off the ball like they pushed Michigan off the ball at times. So that's technique, that's scheme, that's talent. And how the hell is he doing it? How did he do it in 2 freaking years? And let me just say this too, and I'm going to let you jump in. The guy at Syracuse, Fran Brown, friend of mine, his kid played for him at Syracuse last year, but I listened to him talk. Fran Brown said this about the portal, about the NIL and the portal. He said, a lot of guys are out here and they're just swapping twos. Swapping twos. What he means by that, Denny, is are you really elevating and stepping up if you pick up a backup who was at Georgia or a backup who was at Alabama to give, to develop your team and bring depth to your team? And when I heard him speak, the first guy that came to mind for me was Payne, the kid we got from Alabama. You know what I mean? We're opposed to when we won a championship, we went and got the best player from Coastal Carolina, who was one of the best MVP in the league on defense. He was not. That ain't swapping twos. When I saw Payne, I looked at his film when I heard we signed him. I'm like, I'm just being honest, man. I mean, this is like what we got. This ain't no elevation. And then we went and we had AJ Barner. He was a captain at Indiana. You know what I mean? That ain't swapping twos. Old Fran Brown at Syracuse. So he was talking about how he's gonna, we got to recruit, we got to retain our guys, but I don't think you're gonna. I look at Ohio State. What are they swapping twos? No, they ain't swapping twos. They got that tight end from Purdue. He was a freshman, already like whatever the hell he was. You could tell he's damn good. We can't be swapping twos, man. Claire is his name. And I think we got the money, unless Joe Lynn is lying or Portnoy's lying. We got to get these guys, man. We got to get, I don't want to hear about swapping twos. We got to get guys that make us better if you're going to try to beat Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State.
Yeah, some of them, I don't know how much money Justice Haynes got, but he was a great pickup. And it looked like Donovan McCulley, he was someone who you looked like on paper that could have been a one. He ended up not being a one at Michigan, but I thought Payne and Trey Williams both had pretty good years, but they're not, they're not superstars, but they were pretty good players.
I get it, Danny. I understand. No, you're right about I'm just throwing out a statement.
Yeah,
I'm just getting people thinking, because when I see that Claire kid, the tight end that they had, they stole one of the best players from Purdue. And I listen. Listen, man. Those guys played hard. They did the best they could, but is Payne on the level of what the Buckeyes put out there on defense? If you want to win a championship, those are the questions you got to ask.
It's a great point. What you'd love to look at the board that they have and the players that they're going after and the money that they've allotted that they're going to try to get these players. Some of it's easy. Caleb Downs. I knew that he was a great player. He was a great player when he was at Alabama, so that was an easy one for them to go out and get. But you're right, the guys like Burner and stuff like that. Now, I've asked Scar before, why doesn't he, go on to Michigan and get into the be an analyst? And he says, those guys work 80 hours a week. And
let me answer that question, Denny. I'll be honest. I coached 25 years high school, and when I got done, I played with Jim, and I talked about it with some people, and I asked the question about the hours. I wanted to know, what do they because I know they go 6. I know they go long days.
Oh yeah,
they go 6 to 10, man.
Here's my question. Here's my
10 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 10 at night.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And I asked him. I said, "Let me finish." I said, "That ain't for the analysts, is it? That can't be for those little peons, making crumbs." He said, "No, those guys they get abused. Those guys have it the worst." So I love football. I'd rather come out here and just BS with you and do my thing, man.
Well, I have thought, what if, let me give this hypothetical to you. What if it was just 6 a.m. till 10 a.m? You were a part-time analyst, but Scar, what if, you're a Michigan man. What if Ohio State called and said, "Hey, Scar, we want you from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for $175,000 a year."
Yeah. Well, we can talk, Danny. I get it. No, listen, that would have been something great, but I just know you're going to coach. I'm going to give you another line, Coach. Danny, I'm going to give you another line. I played with Jim, so I got to know his parents a little bit. I remember Jack Harbaugh. This was a long time ago when I didn't really know about what I was going to do. And I remember talking to him. This is 40 years ago about being a college coach. This is what he said. He said, "Scar, you can't like football." He said, "You can't love football. You can't live without it." He said, "Because that is all you do. That is your life." So I never forget that statement. And I was coaching high school. I put 10 hours in on Saturday, 10 on Sunday. But these guys are, that's got to be your world, man, and be ready to accept that.
Well, how about the shock from you to see Kerry Coombs, who was out of coaching last year, but he's 64 years old. He's from Coleraine, Ohio, but he spent over 2 decades as a high school coach in Ohio, and then got into the college game and the different stops. I put some of the stops on here. Ohio State defensive coordinator for 2 years. He was with the Tennessee Titans in the NFL for 2 years. Back with Cincinnati, his latest stop, where he was special teams coach for a couple years, and now comes to Michigan as a special teams coach. This seems, I don't know, say it's a little shocking that he is an Ohio guy.
Danny, let me tell you, Danny, there's a lot you don't know about this dude.
All right.
Okay, let me tell you, I know Kerry Coombs.
Okay.
I've known this guy for 40 years. Okay, I played with Eric Caddis, Cincinnati Corrane legend. Went to Corrane High School. Kerry Coombs was either an assistant when Eric played, but he was coming up, hanging out with us when I was playing 40 years ago. So I knew Kerry Coombs from way back. Okay, great guy, personable guy, high school coach, damn good high school coach. He coached that great running back we had, BJ. I can't remember his name. That was the kid. I think he's from Cincinnati. Anyway, Kerry Coombs is a great dude, man. And you could see why he was a successful high school coach. So a long time, and he was good. Danny, I worked the camp, Michigan's camp for, 15, 20 years. I don't know how many years, but I worked it with him for many, many years. So he worked Michigan's camp for 15, 20 years. You got it when he was coaching at Corrane. So he has big time Michigan connections. Him and Brady Hoke were really good friends. He worked, he knows all the Michigan guys, man. He knows Lloyd. He knows Brady. He knows Jimmy Herman, Freddie Jackson. He knows all them guys. So, just because he's from Cincinnati and he coached at, and then he's such a charismatic, personable, good guy. I think Brian Kelly took him out of high school and brought him to Cincy. It was Kelly, one of them guys, maybe Minter. I'm not sure which one hired him at Cincinnati, but he was right down the street. He wanted to get into college, but he is a highly motivated. He's one of them fired up dudes. He's like Dan Campbell on couple with the mega the coffee drinks he's got going. He's a fired up, enthusiastic coach, and I get it. He's had a lot of positions, man. D coordinator. He was always DBs and then special teams and Vrabel brought, so he would have known Vrabel from all the Ohio State connections he had, and he went to with the Titans there when Vrabel was there, and then back to Cincy. So he would have been a great recruiter. I don't know what the hell personality even matters anymore in recruiting and the ability to connect, but he was that guy and is that guy. And I think he got fired with the Titans, but you coach long enough, you're going to get canned. But
that's right.
All I can say is he's a fired up coach. He's been around. He's coached a lot of positions. He's coached high school. And I really like the guy, and I had a lot of good times hanging out with him, working the camp.
So that sounds like a ringing endorsement from you.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he would have sat down, Sharon knows his resume. He Freddie, all them guys know him.
Yeah,
Freddie knows him. Soup knows him. I don't know, but yeah, from because he was working the damn Michigan camp and had more Michigan connections when he was a high school coach probably than he had Ohio State, or just every bit as much. But he understands the position, man. He's had big time jobs, and Sharon and him would have sat down, and Sharon thinks it's a step up, man. So there's something. He questioned about JB. Did JB give us Jay Harbaugh? Did JB give us Jay Harbaugh coaching with our special teams the last 2 years? Did we cover kicks like Jay Harbaugh?
No.
Did we return kicks like Jay Harbaugh? Did we catch punts? Did we return punts? Did we block punts? Did we cover punts? Well, that's all the reflection of the special team coach. So that's how you got to ask yourself: is Sharon thinks this guy's going to trade up?
Yeah, I always hear that the special teams coach, John Harbaugh, was not a coordinator, the Ravens head coach, Jim's brother, and he was with the Eagles, and the Ravens hired him as a special teams coach. And I've heard a few different head coaches say, you want a coach that knows everything about the team and everything. You hire a special teams guy. What does it take to be a good special teams coach?
Well, Danny, those are just the Bo called the punt the most important play in football. Punt, the act of, okay, we got to punt the ball. Well, there's a lot of bad stuff can happen. In big time field position changes. You got to have a good snap. You got to have punt protection. You got to catch the ball, punt it, and then you got your fakes in there, and then you got all your different what punt. I'm just talking about one phase of the game, and then there's a lot of phases to it. The four big phases: punt return, kickoff, kick return. Those are the big ones. And then you got your extra point protection and your field goal. It's all that's the same deal. But those are really the five. Then you got defense. But normally it's the defensive coordinator handling kick block. You probably you have to have your what are you going to do for kick block? He's got to understand all of that stuff, and all the fake punts and all the stuff that people are doing. All the stuff that people are doing now with punt, Danny, they're changing formation, they're putting motion, they're shifting out of punt. Back in our day, it was just people were double tight, three protectors, and it was the same damn thing every time. And then they put the gunner out there, 30 years ago, and but now you're seeing a lot of formations there, and people are trying to get an advantage in any way they can, punting the football. But Denny, there's a hell of a lot, and you have to, he's the guy that has to determine what type of athletes he wants. Like, what do you want? What type of athlete do you want on your punt protection? You want DBs, you want linebackers, you want tight ends. Both, like I said, both thought it was the most important play in football. So what do you have with punt protection? Well, you know why he said it? He said, well, you got to be able to block, and then you got to be able to run. And then you got to be able to tackle. That's how he used to say it. So, but he's right. You got to be able to block. You got to know who the hell you're blocking and read all, and understand all that. And, but then you also have what his job. If I'm the special team coach at Michigan, I got pretty much the pick of the litter in terms of, I got the pick of the roster of who the hell I want to put on my punt team. I might not, maybe not some of the starters, but I've seen a lot of guys that are starters on some of our, especially when these guys only playing 30, 40 snaps. If I want Jimmy Rolder on my punt team because I think he's the best, he's the smartest, I might have him on there. You know what I mean? But anyway, he has the roster to pick from in terms of getting his kick return team. His kickoff team. I was on kickoff. I was on punt. I was on punt return. Back in the day, they used to put the big offensive lineman on kick return. They don't do that anymore. Now they want guys that can run on kick return. You got to be athletic, man. They're running, they're covering the damn kick. You got to have guys that can run with them.
Well, there's so much like you're talking about with special teams, the hidden yardage. When it comes through it, you see the punts how they were covered this year. Sometimes making a fair catch at the 2-yard line and jumping on live balls at the middle of the field. I mean, all of that kind of stuff. You saw Jay Harbaugh, what a great job that he was able to do. So that phase really, and that's why they're making a move here. When it comes to offensive defense, there's been a lot of this is what happens once the season's over. Hey, was it more of the offense? Was it more of the defense? When you talk about the issues there, what I would say is that, the offense, they had a built-in excuse. You had a true freshman quarterback. So I think, you understand that, and you could say, well, that's why the offense struggled. They had a true freshman quarterback. So then a lot of people just went to the defense and said, defense, that's the problem. Defense with Michigan. With special teams was a problem, but in the 3 games that they lost, all 3 phases, you could make a claim that, that there was some issues there. But when you look at all of that, there's a lot of, I don't want to say blame to go around, but I mean, how do you dole it out?
Yeah, equally, Denny. All three were not good enough. No coach was good enough. No coach was good enough. No player was good enough. Strength coach wasn't good enough. It all starts at the top, and everybody's responsible for what the hell happened with that football team, man. And let me just say this, Denny. If I got a job tomorrow, at a big time college, I don't know that I would recruit a high school quarterback. I really don't know if I would. I think I would take the philosophy of more what Cignetti did. Just go steal the best kid from the MAC and go steal the best kid from Cal. Who's, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to go through the growing pains. So I'd like to know what our listeners think about that. It's like, is it worth going through the growing pains? And then you got no commitment. The guy's going to stay. Look at Nebraska now. Nebraska recruited the 5-star superstar. They thought they hit the jackpot with that kid. I mean, is he as good as they thought? I don't know. I don't think he is. And he's finished his second year. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how good he is. But now he's talking about leaving. I heard there's more rumors about him leaving. So what the hell did you accomplish? You developed some guy. You played a freshman. And what the hell did you get out of it? Other than developing him for somebody else to steal him or whatever. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing, Denny. I'm thinking as a coach, that is probably the only position that if I got a job tomorrow, I think I would take more of the Cignetti approach. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait around and try to develop some kid. Maybe I'll recruit freshmen. Maybe I will recruit some, but I'm not as sure as hell ain't playing them early. I'm going to have a plan to play a guy who's been there and battle tested and that kind of thing. I guess what Ohio State did, he sat 1 year. We didn't have the opportunity to do that. So it's just something that I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. I mean, it's an interesting one. You go back and it's changed. College football has changed because Harbaugh, I remember, he was getting criticized for bringing in, he can't develop his own quarterback. Oh, he's bringing in, Shea Patterson as a savior, and he's going to the transfer portal for this guy, and then and it ended up where it worked with JJ. But
Denny, at the end of the day, do the alumni give a damn how you go about building your roster? All they care about is winning. Beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State, win a Big Ten championship. Doesn't care how you build your roster. You want to do it with transfers? You want to go to Coastal Carolina and get Josiah Stewart? You want to go steal Indiana's captain? Barham, whatever the hell. What are the rules, man? Take the rules and work them to your favor, man. So what else do I got on that, Danny? I just want to make sure we get some of these changes in the Big Ten. Some of these coaches.
Throw it out there because I got some basketball. You led.
All right, well, let's couple things going on. I heard Rossi is staying at Michigan State.
Yes,
so he was their defensive coordinator. I think he's a good defensive coach. I think you're going to see a bigger, stronger, more physical team with Fitz. Anyway, that's of significance because I do think the guy's a good coach. Penn State. So I'm only going to talk about people we play. So Penn State, we play Penn State, and they hired Iowa State. What the hell is his name? Matt
Campbell.
Matt Campbell is a proven coach. Built Toledo from garbage. Built Iowa State from garbage. So he's 2-0 as a leader, and he's going to Penn State, and he's bringing with him a defensive coordinator, Danny, another guy that I know from way back, John Haycock. He's got Michigan roots. He was a grad assistant at Michigan. I know him from way back, worked the camp with him, and he was a head coach at Youngstown State. But one of the big reasons they're damn good on is they've been good on defense. So what he runs, though, he's going to run a 3-3-5, but he runs a more physical version of it than what Rich Rod ran. So we play Penn State. Believe me when I tell you, the guy's a damn good defensive coach. So they're going to be the only team in the Big Ten running that defense. Okay, just so you're aware of what Iowa State runs. Two damn good coaches. They're on the schedule. I just thought it was interesting, Denny. Two Oregon offensive coordinators got jobs, big jobs. The defense coordinator got one. The offensive coordinator got one. How many guys at Michigan got jobs? Ask yourself that question. Ohio State is losing their receiver coach. He's taking the USF job. So that was that's
Heartline.
Heartline. That's something. What did I have on else on? I talked about the Indiana Ohio State. I thought both teams were damn good on defense. Denny, red zone defense was so good in that game from both of those teams. You know, 3 points, 4 points. It's a huge difference. So I just thought it was both teams. I wanted to compliment both teams. Damn good red zone defense. And, I talked about the technique that Indiana, I just got it circled again here is, you asked that question. It was just, you look at the film and I'm like, how the hell Ohio State ain't knocking them off the ball? Ohio State couldn't run the ball with any consistency against Indiana. No, they freaking ran it down our throat that last drive for 18, 19 plays. Wasn't it something like that? We couldn't stop them. And so that's that. Before you get into something else, would any of these questions relate to anything I said, Denny?
Yeah, I mean, if people are, just talking about everything that you're talking about, I would point out that with Matt Campbell, that he was this close to, you can believe it or not, to being Michigan's coach in 2020. Now, they stayed with Jim Harbaugh, which was obviously the correct move, and I know a lot of people are, like to, plant the flag, saying, and looking down their nose at a bunch of Michigan fans that were ready to move on. And Warde Manuel made the right move. He might not have made the right move in, slashing his salary because that made him bitter or whatever else. You could also make the argument that it fired him up, if whatever. But if they were going to, and it was feasible to do it, as great as everybody, loved Jim Harbaugh and everything else, it was the correct move to keep him. But it would also have been, not some drastic knee-jerk reaction to move on. My point is that Campbell was number one, at least in the media circles. That doesn't mean that he would have been the guy. Bill O'Brien's name was there. I also think that Pat Fitzgerald's name was on that list.
I know that for sure. That I remember hearing that on the inside that they really liked him. You know who? I'm going to tell you something people don't know. A name that Michigan was always respected that I had heard way back in the day.
Let me think.
Before you'll never guess this. Before he was the head coach, Kirk Ferentz. Bo always liked them offensive line coaches, so he was a highly respected guy. I remember hearing that name years ago, a long time ago. This by when Moeller was coaching.
I got the connections on the defensive side. What's the connection there with the Iowa and the brothers there or whatever?
Oh, Stoops. What do you mean?
No, Iowa. I was maybe it was their strength coach. I don't know. He had some connections there with Michigan. People always talked about. I think PJ Fleck might have been on that list as well. Michigan did the right thing, staying where they were. That was good. You know what I found interesting as we go to some college basketball. If you're ready for that, Scar, is that Michigan State's been winning. Obviously Michigan's just been slaughtering everybody after the first couple of games. They look great. I've seen a couple different news conferences from Tom Izzo, who I think what Michigan's doing is firing him up. He said something like early on that no, he doesn't abandon his guys that he recruits. And, he's keeping them there, trying to fire up those guys that he's got, that he's stuck with them. And obviously Michigan's gone out to the transfer portal. He said it again over the weekend. Yeah. Well, he's
got the big kid over at UCLA. He gave up on. I know. I heard his talk.
Now, after they lost to Kentucky, he said, hey, some of these teams that go out there just hit the transfer portal. I'm not ready to anoint anyone. Here in early December.
Yeah, well,
so we know he was talking about.
Well, not really. I mean, we listen, man. He's got Cheddar back. He's got some kids back, and he let Big Booker go to UCLA. He let The guard go. He's got one kid at North Carolina State. What the hell? The kid he had last year. He let guys go.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I get it. I understand what he's saying. I respect Izzo. His teams play physical.
Holloway.
They rebound, they defend. I like the way he coaches. He's tough. They play tough. And listen, I saw Michigan struggle in Detroit against Wake Forest. They didn't shoot the ball well in the second half. Wake Forest is a pretty good team, but you got to make shots, okay? And we went to Vegas and made shots, couldn't miss. And Rutgers is terrible. Rutgers, this guy he sat all his old guys against Michigan. He played all his freshmen. They looked embarrassing. But Denny, here's my take on Michigan.
All right,
we're a hell of a lot better on defense. I think Dusty May. We got pushed around by. You're going to coach in the Big Ten. You better frickin' match up physically with Michigan State. If you want to win a championship, you got to go through them. And they play physical. They kick your ass on the boards. They play defense, and we got pushed around. You know, it's the same old story with them for many, many years. Beeline had trouble, building up the physicality to beat these guys. But Dusty. He knows what the hell he has to do to win a championship. He went and got Morez from Illinois. That dude's a tough dude. He ain't backing down. We got the shot blocker. We got Lundenberg, who's a physical, athletic dude. These guys can all defend, Danny. We ain't going to – listen, Danny Wolf and Vlad were good players, but they didn't give the physicality and the defense that you need if you're going to go against Michigan State, in my opinion. So – I think we've elevated our defensive athleticism. So we're going to be a hell of a lot better defensive basketball team in general. And defense shows up every week. Defense doesn't take – athletic ability to defend doesn't take a night off. Listen, we shot the ball well, and I've seen games, and you've seen Michigan every game they played. There's games we didn't shoot the ball well. We struggled. You know what I mean? So and you get in the Big Ten, people are going to play damn good defense. So I'm optimistic. I'm positive because I like what we have on defense. Our point guard has to secure the ball a little more. He was turnover like crazy, and he's gotten better these last couple of games securing the basketball.
Yes.
But I like the depth. I like the athleticism. I like the leadership. We got guys that can score. We got guys that can defend. And Dusty's a smart guy. He knows how to build a team. We got the shot blocker. And, who the hell? We got Villanova coming in tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, we ain't had a brutal road game, though. You know what I mean? We ain't had a brutal one, and that's coming. Iowa, everybody thought Iowa was good. They went to Michigan State, got beat by 20. So, we're going to get I think we go to Maryland next week then, right? But anyway.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm real high on the leadership of the basketball program, man. The players we brought in, the way they coach, the way they play. And I don't get all caught up in these the rankings don't mean jack really in basketball. We got to win games, man. We want to win a Big Ten championship, and how you're ranked, whatever. Let's just keep getting better. Securing the ball, playing a lot of guys, because you're going to have injuries in basketball too. I coach basketball too, Denny. I sound like I coach basketball.
I like it. I think it's, there's no reason to be upset. And people can be upset. I think a lot of it just plays out online, and people like to have fun that maybe, that Michigan should have been number one. Arizona was number 2, and they had a game against a top 25 team, a top 20 team in Auburn, and they blew their doors off. And so, leapfrogging teams or anything else, there's no problem with Arizona being number 1. But I think it's good for Michigan because, they can go out there and they can use that against Villanova. The crowd's going to be like, we're number 1, but actually they're number 2. And it just gives them a little bit of something to say, okay, we're not number 1. Let's go show everyone that we are number 1. And then, by this time next week, they can be sitting over here and saying, okay, now we should be number 1.
Denny, if you're a player and you're on the number 2 ranked team in the country or the number 22 ranked team in the country, and Villanova comes into Ann Arbor, does it affect the way you play basketball? Who cares?
Well, I hear when you say that, but
I'm just thinking about a guy that I don't know what the hell it does to my effort. I want to win the game, and I want to play great for my teammates in Michigan. And no, I get it, man. I'm just old school.
It's true.
It's too early, man.
I see a lot of high-level players that use the slightest little things to motivate them, and a lot of them, it's where they get drafted in the NBA. They remember every single player that was drafted in front of them. Running backs do the same thing. Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions, he can recite every wide receiver that was taken in front of him, and he uses that. Yeah, I would say, look, you should be just fired up because it's Villanova and you're playing your team, but the stars, I see it with so many guys. It's like Jordan with everything, with he would use everything. Izzo seems like, I've heard Izzo over the years, 10, 20 years ago, Izzo will say, I saw some guy on a message board saying I didn't play this. I mean, what are you talking? Why are you responding to somebody that's talking on a message board? But it got him all fired up. He's like punching his players and everything. So I don't know. Guys use anything.
No, I know, but the thing about basketball though is at the end of the day, we have our tournaments, we got all our thing, and then
that's right.
You're eventually gonna, let's just be one of the 64. You're all gonna get a shot. Obviously, you want to be higher seeded, but
you want to be a number 1 seed. I would like to see Michigan at some point be the number 1 team overall.
No, it'd be great. Let's just keep winning though. We control, let's control what we can control, not some freaking writer's opinion.
Yeah.
Danny, how about this? How about this? Georgia trying to get that $400,000 back from that kid that left. Did you read that story?
I did read that story. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think if a kid signs, see that gets back to my point about, you recruit a kid out of high school and you take a shot on them and you have your agreement financially and you're going to develop them. You're going to spend the time developing the kid. You should be rewarded then to have the opportunity to retain the kid. And now he left, and Georgia wants to get $400,000 back that they had committed to the kid, whatever it is. But
Georgia's stupid if they made up a contract where they gave him all the money up front. Even if it was working out at Georgia and they gave me all the money up front, I would say, yeah, I'm just going to cut loose here and go somewhere else and get paid again. So I think it was on Georgia that they messed up their fine print with the contract. You're supposed to spread this out. And if a guy leaves, and plus it makes Georgia look bad. This the next guy going to want to go in there and say, I don't know, do I really want to sign?
Denny, you honor your commitment, man. That's like, it's no different than
the guys are all free agents now. It's like, let's see how much money I can make. Let's see how much money I can make. That's then these guys better have better contracts written. These coaches, right? I just listen, man. I just think when all these coaches come to my living room and talk to my parents, they say, "Hey, man, we're going to honor the scholarship till he graduates. If he needs 5, we'll give him 5 years to finish and graduate. We're going to honor it." Okay, so that was a commitment. And what do they say when, hey, Coach Scarcelli?
They didn't say to my parents, "Hey, if he ain't worth a damn, we're kicking his ass to the curb." No, they didn't say that.
What if they say, hey, Coach Scar, what about Lane Kiffin, who took it to the playoffs and hightailed it out of here? I mean, what about him?
I get it. That's a rotten deal, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a whole nother discussion, man.
A whole other kettle of fish. Yeah. Let's go through. So we got a lot of feedback here. We got football, we got basketball. Let me get over here and just put some of them out here. D Original talking about the basketball team. He's saying turnovers are the key.
You're absolutely right. Turnovers in our point guard has been good the last couple games. We were bad early on, and you're right. That's a good point there.
Mar says Michigan is a blue blood, but they have underperformed.
No question. We're not accepting that ever. We're never accepting rebuild. And I talked with Dewar last week, Danny. I'm just keeping it real. I don't want to hear the words "we're young and rebuild" in Ann Arbor. Are they saying that in Columbus? Are they saying that in South Bend? Are they saying that in Tuscaloosa? We're young, rebuild. I don't want to hear that.
Let me give you a thought. Today, Sharon Moore was asked about getting a quarterback coach in, and he made it sound like that is what they are going to do. So, yeah, he I don't want to say doubled down. He was asked earlier this year about calling plays during the game. He said, I don't call plays. And then today he said,
really, that was something I was always, does he have any, ask him.
I asked him, let me see if I can remember what.
Well, it's not a collaboration. It's not a collaboration.
I asked him after the Michigan State game if he called plays during the game, and he said no. Chip calls all the plays. Today he said Chip has full autonomy in calling
really?
With the offense. So
did he? Okay, so he did. So he had it all year. He had full autonomy all year.
That's what he said. People don't believe him on that.
Yeah, well, the question I always have, does that mean does he have complete control of the structure of the offense, what we believe in? Are we still going to be tight ends and fullbacks? And, I never gave my offensive coordinator that. I never called a play as a head coach, but everything we believed in philosophically, the formations, the shifting, the scheme, how are we going to help our defense? All that stuff had to come through me. So I just wondered, is he just delegating it and say, go ahead? I bet he has a big say in the structure of the offense.
Yeah, I think during the week, they have a discussion on how, of course, you're going to be in there. I would say, I would also think that a head coach, if it's coming down to a fake or fourth down situations or going for 2 points, are they just looking at a chart?
Oh, no, he's making that decision. Denny, he has to make the fake punt. He has to make that. Kick the field goal.
All right. Okay. I have full autonomy. That's what he said.
Well, I can't believe he's delegating those calls. But
play calling of quarterback coach. Now that's Chip Lindsey. So here's what I wanted to ask you, Scar. So they have the plan where you have Chip Lindsey. He was involved with Drake May when he was at North Carolina, and they have two other guys with titles on the team. Kasula is the co-offensive coordinator. And tight ends, but he's also got the title co-offensive coordinator. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much say he has in the offense or with Bryce Underwood. Somebody else, is it Ron Bellamy is the,
listen, a co-offensive coordinator would be, I would say that sometimes they give these guys titles so that it helps them on their resume.
Yeah. That's what Harbaugh did, I thought.
Yeah. You give a guy, assistant head coach, and this guy's everybody's coordinators and assistant head coaches, and ain't nobody just a position coach anymore. But some of that stuff, I think they do it for that. But I would guess, the way that there are two guys that maybe have a little more say in the game plan. The big thing is play calling, though.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can give this guy a title as assistant offensive coordinator, or what do they call him? Is he co-coordinator in the book there?
Yes.
Okay, well, yes. Okay, well, at the end of the day, what I would ask Sharon Moore, I get it that he's co-coordinator, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is who's calling the freaking play on 4th and 3.
Well, the funny part about all of that, it goes back to Harbaugh, who had both co-offensive coordinators and co-defensive coordinators. And Joel Klatt was so frustrated and said, look, Jim, one of the guys makes the call. And Jim was like, no, it's a collaboration during the game. And he's like, well, how do they take every other series? Or Jim wouldn't reveal any of that. But he's like, no. And it doesn't matter. You have to have somebody making the call. But
because
it was a big joke.
I get it. Harbaugh, but that's what I think these guys do. That is, you want to pad the guy's resume. That when he worked at Michigan for 3 years, he was a co-coordinator. So now he's ready to be a head coach for UAB or whatever the hell job Kosulo's applying for. Oh yeah, he was this, that, or whatever.
Here is a $5 thought from Michigan Go Blue ZT1GD, formerly 1234.
Hey, my thought is Sharon Moore. We have got to, listen. Sprague ain't going nowhere. I think we've recruited. I look at our, some of the guys back on offense. Link, Babalua, those are good players that we had injuries. Frazier's going to have to battle. I think Frazier's going to probably fill one of them guard spot. Link and Babalua are going to bat. But, okay, to answer that question, Bryce has to take a big step. We don't know what we're getting back at running back. We've got some good tight ends. We've recruited good offensive linemen. Do we have the freak receiver? Find the freak receiver. Marsh is good. Is number one have another year, Denny?
No.
Okay. Oregon went and got that kid out of somewhere last year, that little receiver. Let's find the great additions to really make us a championship team in the portal. Jim found Josiah. He found Barham. How many years in a row did we go get a center? He found the big fella from Virginia. He pissed off Crippen. I guarantee you. And then he found the kid from Stanford. I guarantee he pissed off Crippen again. But he didn't give a damn. If there's better players in the portal, I don't want to be swapping twos, man. We don't want to swap twos, like Fran said. So my prediction is Bryce has to keep getting better. Sharon has to lead. He has to have the vision, and he has to out frickin' vision Signetti type. That's what we're competing against. We got Signetti coming in to Ann Arbor next year. I don't want to see that Signetti did a better job working the portal than we did, or that they're coaching technique better than we are. So if I'm coaching Michigan, okay, so we have to be better, okay? In that from the offensive perspective. Wink defensively, we got to be what we had some good games. We did some good things in some good games, but Ohio State was not good in any way, shape, or form. We got to figure out. And I tell you another thing, Danny, if I'm coaching Michigan, what I'm spending a lot of time on is Indiana's defense and Penn State's defense, because they are both unique defenses. They're not like what we run. So Indiana is successful because they run some schematic stuff that people don't see. He recruited good players. He transfer portaled really good players. They do a great job with technique. They do a great job with scheme. So you beat that guy, you better do your freaking homework. So I'm just going to try to keep the faith. And why did we consistently throw short? Maybe they thought the defenses were covering the long stuff. Maybe they didn't think we were getting separation with our receivers. Maybe it was just high percentage stuff that there's a lot of reasons for it. Maybe they don't think Bryce can. Did they not think he could consistently throw an accurate deep ball?
Well, during the Ohio State game, this is what you saw, and it looked like it was in the form of checkdowns, and it looked like a little panic from the freshman quarterback. It looked like the processing was either too fast or just wasn't on. You had receivers who were open. If he hangs on to the ball for a click more, you say, well, it's easy for you to say. Well, it is easy for me to say. You see a guy, the route developing with nobody 15 yards around him after a second when, Underwood's doesn't hang on to it. And he's checking the ball down and throwing it 100 miles an hour. The game got too fast for him at the end of the season. Now he's got to get not just a little bit better. He's got to get way better. I don't think Michigan fans, because it's harsh. And even the critics are saying it, is that, they don't like, they don't want to hear about Sharon Moore being on the hot seat. They don't want to hear about Michigan has to make the college football playoff. But if we're going to be honest, and I'm not going to be sitting here every day saying, oh, they got to make it or he's out, but they're going to have to probably make the college football playoff. And if Bryce Underwood doesn't get a lot better, he's probably going to be out. And so is Moore. Now, people don't like to hear that, but that there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. That's if I'm keeping it real with
everybody down at Schembecker Hall, everybody, they all got to be better. We were not good in any way, shape, or form from the head coach on down. We were not good enough. So that's what has to be that has to be pounded in. Wink has to be better. The offensive line coach has to be better. The strength coach has to be better. Secondary, they all got to be better, man. So
yes,
you start firing dudes like Sharon did. Getting rid of the special team coach. Some of them guys are. Sure, they understand how much pressure they have on them. You coach at Michigan, you're making a hell of a lot of money, man. So those guys are making big time cash. You get you want to keep that job if you're a coach. You don't want to get fired. George Helo got fired, and it took him a hell of a long time to ever get a job again. Remember, Jim used to fire a lot of dudes. Anyway,
hey,
it's Michigan, man. We're expecting to compete for championships.
That's the bottom line. They're expecting the compete for championships. I'm expecting Michigan to beat Texas.
Denny, let me look at one last note. Texas Tech. Texas Tech and Indiana, they are changing college football. Okay, these are two programs that were like, who the hell are they? Right? Who the hell is Texas Tech and who's Indiana? Okay, again, the media wants to keep talking about money with Texas Tech, right? And they want to talk about money with Cignetti.
With Mark Cuban is.
I get it. You don't think so? So Joe Lynn and Ohio State and Oregon, they ain't got no money. Texas ain't got no money.
No, I don't know about that, but Texas Tech spent more money than anybody.
How do we know that? How do we know how much money they spent?
Because they said it, I guess.
Who the hell's they?
Texas Tech.
Okay, well, let me just say this. It's one thing to have money. It's another thing to spend it wisely.
Now, that's a good point, because Texas A&M.
Okay, so it's one thing to keep saying, the guy, I guarantee you that Ohio State payroll is heavy. To pay to keep number 4 there. Anyway, the game has changed. You better be great with your money, the resources you have. Whereas 30 years ago, if you're in Indiana, how the hell do you beat Michigan, Ohio State? Good luck. They're getting the best players. You got to try to out-recruit them. You got to outsell them. You got to whatever, man. The journey is tough. Now, a guy at some of these other schools. And even though they have, let's just say Ohio State has more money than Indiana, or Texas has more money than Texas Tech. The guy at Texas Tech can say, if he's better with his money, he can find a way to beat Texas. If he spends it on the right guy, and then he's better with scheme, better with technique. And again, that's what you're seeing from Indiana. They're just doing a good job with the money they spend. And same thing at Texas Tech. He's a former high school coach. I watched that guy coach. He's a damn good coach. Texas Tech.
Scar, it's a good point about the money. The Dodgers actually have won it for a couple of years, but the Yankees would win in baseball every year. They have
because of money. The Dodgers and Yankees.
Right, Dodgers and Yankees, but they don't win it every year. There's teams. So it's not just having the big payroll, and you're right, because Texas A&M, this is just in the NIL era. Old Miss, a couple of years ago, they'd throw a lot of money out there. You just saw players coming in and out. You knew they were cheating. But now that you can, Texas A&M, they were just ripping it off, and it didn't work for them. So it's just the U likes to throw a lot of money. It's not just, who's writing the biggest checks.
That's right. It still gets down to wisdom and vision. That's leadership, man. It still gets down to sizing up the right player, bringing the right player in that's going to fit in your locker room, fit in your scheme. Yeah, 13-10. I thought about that too. 13-10, that score. That was
it was crazy.
Just brilliant defenses. I'm glad they lost. I'm never cheering for Ohio State, but I just was really impressed with both defensive coaches.
I was too. Who's winning it all, Scar? You pick a Texas Tech to get to the championship game or something? You got a dark horse?
No, Texas Tech. They don't have the guy's a good coach, and they're in the Big 12. They're not playing SEC and Big 10 teams though. BYU is not on the level of some of the Big Ten teams. The guys, they had a good year, but no, I'm not picking them. I'm picking, or don't count out Oregon, man. Don't count out Oregon. I'll tell you that right now because they got a lamb chop game 1, so that's
and they got Texas Tech game 2. So
that is a great situation. If of all the Final Four teams, that's who I want to play is Texas Tech because they don't have the kind of talent. I don't think Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia. They're not on that level. So Oregon has a real nice route then. So they would get there. They would be 5, and they would get Texas Tech. That's who I want. I've always said this. Then even as a high school coach, I'm the number 1 seed many times in my district, and I get the number 4 seed. Right? Well, guess what? Number 4 might be the best team that I don't want to face. I wish they could have it where the number 1 seed could get to pick which guy they want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did some of those guys agree with me on Cignetti?
Yeah, they all. People, it seem like they're all agreeing. What about Notre Dame taking their ball and going home? Got any thoughts?
That's I guess the players probably didn't want to play. I thought that was a lot of these guys don't really want. I don't know, man. They just said the hell with it. That's kind of. There's probably a lot going on there because a lot of those guys maybe they want to. I don't know. It doesn't. Let me just say this, Danny. I remember when we were 6-5, when we lost to Ohio State, Bo's worst team, 84. There was not a whole lot of enthusiasm to play in a bowl game by the players. I just remember that as a guy on the team.
Playing Robbie Bosco.
Yeah, so it's not like some automatic, because again they used to. Practices were brutal and bowl practices when I played. It wasn't always it wasn't like you just chilled out and then played a game. No, it was 15 really, really tough practices.
Good stuff. Before you give a final word, I just wanted to give condolences out to a great Michigan family. Mary Beth Sirocco. Mary Beth passed away last night peacefully. And I have been told that Mary Beth was as big of a Michigan supporter and from a Michigan family as anyone. So,
yeah, John, she's the sister of the great John Gindia, our friend, Big Hoss, number 58. I played with John, and John's dad played at Michigan in the 48 team. So Mary Beth, condolences to the family, and I remember her coming up when we were playing, man. And but yeah, the old man and son played great players at Michigan, man. Michigan men.
Good stuff. Condolences.
All right, Danny. It's all good. Go blue.
There he is. Scar. Fired up. Ready for another season.